What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Fitness and Lifestyle Podcast. Today's a very special episode because it's our 600th episode of the show. Even more special because I get to sit down with a good friend of mine, Jackson Warne. But before we dive in, I wanted to say thank you to everyone who tunes into the show regularly. This may even be your first episode. Either way, very grateful for you all. Obviously, if no one listened to the show wouldn't be what it is today. I've learnt so much over the 600 episodes about myself, about others, about the world, and it's only excited me to really focus and lean into the next 600. So if you haven't subscribed to the show already, please do. Surely 600 episodes is enough to make you subscribe. But I thank everyone who tunes in, and I know you guys are going to love the chat today with Jacko. Jacko, welcome back to the Fitness and Lifestyle Podcast, brother.
Hello, DK. Thank you for having me. I don't want to spoil it, but it has been 5 years since our last chat, and so much has happened since then, and this is finally in person.
I know.
So thank you for having me.
Our first one was online, wasn't it? Mate, there's been plenty that's been happening since then.
Yes.
First thing I wanted to touch on is we did a session last week, and you're looking phenomenal, man.
Do you think?
Oh, mate, 100%. Looking the best I've ever seen you look. Tell us a bit about your current kind of structure and training and whatnot at the moment.
Well, after sort of Dad passed, my friends and family sort of and I sort of came up with the nickname too, but it was Fat Jack, and I reckon I was always in between 78 and 81 kilos. But after March 2022 till about June when I went away, so within sort of 3-4 months, I went from 81 to 90. And my face was just really puffy, and every time I was getting on the scales, it was just going up and up and up. Jeans were getting tighter, couldn't put my belt on, T-shirts were a bit tighter, veins were going. I'm like, nah, this is just horrible. But then for 2 years, didn't really do anything about it. I didn't really care. Peaked at 96 kilos. And then at the start of the year, I'm like, nah, Fat Jack, he's got to go. Maybe can still eat my Maccas, but Fat Jack's got to go. Normal Jack's got to come back. And then so I bought a Garmin, which sort of made walking pretty fun because I'd have that 10,000 or 12,000 steps in my head.
Something tangible to track.
Yeah, just something tangible to track. Got me outside a lot more, got me moving my body, bought a walking pad for home. So when I'm at home not doing anything, I can just still get my steps up. Started trying new foods. I started eating steak, DK, which I hadn't done for a long time.
Our first episode, I believe the list of foods that you would eat was around 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And I was in disbelief after the episode. But then getting to spend a bit more time with you, I was like, fuck, this bloke, he's telling the truth. He's spot on here.
Yeah, I reckon it was probably burgers, pizza, eggs, bacon, toast, cereal.
And you had shares in McDonald's, was it?
Shares? No, I was probably the Elstonwick Macca's #1 customer, but... Yeah, apart from that,
reserve seat,
apple, banana. Yeah, reserve seat, private booth out the back. But yeah, apple and banana, that's really it. But then as soon as I was like, okay, I need to get serious, started eating steak, chicken and rice.
Look out.
Oats, I was like, oh, I feel really good now. Let's just stay on this path. But thank you, DK. This is by far the best I've been feeling for a long time. So thank you for noticing.
Incredible, man. I know how much time and effort and hard work you put into it, brother. Warne's Way.
Yes.
Mate, firstly, congrats. I think you've done an exceptional job. Would love to hear what your experience has been so far. Obviously, you've probably been a guest on a number of podcasts before, but stepping up and really kind of doing your own thing and putting it out into the world and doing an incredible job of it. How's the experience been so far?
Firstly, thank you, DK, but by no means is my Warne's Way podcast anywhere near even in the same league as yours because I'm only 15 episodes in and you're in the triple digits, not 100, not 200, not even 300, but double 300 and nearly 600 episodes, which is just crazy to think. So, DK...
Well, you're doing the honours. Today's episode 600, so thanks for joining me. And for those that are listening, thank you so much for listening to the podcast and being part of the show. It's been absolutely incredible. But yeah, man, 600 episodes. It's feels like it's gone pretty quick, but it's a lot of talking.
Yeah, no, it's inspiring because you've just been so consistent and you've built such a loyal following and audience, and what you talk about, you're so knowledgeable on, but also so passionate about. So it's contagious. But no, 600, it's inspiring. I've got probably at least 6 or 7 years to get there and catch up. But by the time I catch up, you're going to be over 1,000. So, no, well done, DK. It's amazing to see.
I appreciate it, mate.
Keep up the good work. I'm definitely not worthy either to be episode 600. So,
100% you are, brother.
Thank you for having me.
100% worthy. I'm keen to understand, is there anything that has surprised you since starting the pod? Something that maybe you didn't expect about yourself or about just the experience itself? Like, how has that been for you, and what has kind of, I guess, surprised you most?
Well, the Warne podcast is sort of, at least at the start, and sort of what I'm sharing in common the most with my guests is stories about Dad. And a lot of the guests are Dad's closest friends or teammates and stuff like that, people he worked with in Commentary Box. And so they've all got their own unique relationship to Dad or their own Shane Warne story. But the only thing is I haven't really found out anything like crazy yet that I didn't think or know about Dad. A lot of the stories are already all things that I knew Dad would be like or have things in common. He was really funny. He was hiding his smoke behind her back to get photos with people. It was always early. He was just making everybody laugh. But one thing personally I found out is I didn't think I'd probably be having as much fun as I thought I'd be. Like, even though the podcast is quite serious or sometimes emotional or anything like that, but actually the amount of stories and the people I'm talking to and what I'm getting out of it, I'm having so much fun. And even just when I'm doing all the clips for it, because it's just me and my girlfriend Kai that do everything. And when I'm doing all the clips for it, I'm finding out so much footage and old photos I've never seen before of Dad that's just sort of making me smile. So I think the stage of being sort of sad or whatever has, although it still is, has sort of passed. And now it's just, I'm really happy and proud and excited to learn more or see more of Dad. But yeah, so far, episode 15, it's gone, like you said, it's gone very fast. I said I was probably only going to do it for 6 months, but I am having a lot of fun, so maybe we'll keep it going.
Got to give the people what they want, brother. Got to keep it going, mate. One of the things that I say quite often whenever I'm talking about you to others, I think when people find out or know that you and I are good friends, people ask all the time, "What's he like?" Yeah,
really?
Yeah, they seriously do. And I'm not just saying this just because you're here, but I genuinely think that you are one of the most genuine people I've ever met. I think you should be incredibly proud of how you carry yourself and all your values that you live by. And one of the things I love about you is that you really chase the uncomfortable. You put yourself in positions where you're going to grow. And that should be something that you're really, really proud of. And obviously you just mentioned the great man then, Shane. As long as you're happy to have a little chat about it, mate.
Yeah.
I'd love to just understand the mentality around that period of time, because one of the things that I am in awe of is how you carried yourself throughout that whole period and really stepped up and lent into even more personal growth, more responsibility, and you know, really stepped up to the plate, which again you should be very proud of. What got you through that period, brother? And I guess give us some insight into the mentality or the mindset throughout that to come out on the other side an even better person.
Well, firstly, thank you, DK. That's very, very nice and generous of you. But I think it all started probably in 2020 when I got out of my comfort zone for the first time. Like, I'd sort of lived a very sort of safe and comfortable life. Mum and Dad always growing up, because Dad went through so much shit his entire life, through everything, and always came out the other end stronger. I think he just wanted me, Brooke and Summer, to live a very protected life. Like, he tried to protect us as much as he could from everything. So it would be people in the outside world, from cameras or media, even though sometimes it was hard. He just wanted to make sure that we were always okay, no matter where we were or what we were doing. So just even we would go for dinners or holidays, driving, I just knew he always wanted us to feel safe and like okay. So yeah, growing up, sort of lived a very comfortable life and then got the opportunity to go on SAS, which for me was very, very out of my comfort zone. It was freezing cold water, being yelled at, lots of running, fighting, crawling in the mud, starving.
A lot of publicity too.
Yeah, a lot of publicity, but trying new foods, dehydrate, like all these different things which I'd never experienced. And when I first got the call back in 2019, Dad's manager called him to run an idea sort of by him, but he didn't know I was in the car at the time. And when Dad got the call, it was about this show called SAS Australia. And Dad was like, "Oh, is this what's this for?" And he said, "No, it's not for you, it's for Jacko." And so when we'd sort of hung up the phone and I was watching all the videos, I just saw a compilation of Ant, who's the chief DS of the show. It was just a 15-minute compilation of him yelling at all of his recruits. And I'm watching this and Dad's sort of driving but listening and occasionally looking, and he's just going, "Mate, there's just no way you're doing this course or this show because, one, you're my son and I'm not letting anybody yell at you. Two, you hate the freezing cold. Three, what the hell are you going to eat? And 4, you're not doing this, Jacko, sorry. So I'm like, oh, well, after doing some more watching and research about it, I actually said to Dad, I'm like, look, this is something I'd love to do. This could be a really cool opportunity. I haven't done any of the things on this course, so I'm getting completely out of my comfort zone, and I could grow a lot from this. And after sort of convincing Dad and showing him some more photos and videos, he's like, mate, if you really want to do it, do it. Fully support you in any way I can, help training or introduce you to people, whatever it is, go for it and good luck. So after I did the course, and what I was able to learn in such a short amount of time was honestly life-changing. My appreciation for being able to drink water, talk to mates, eat whatever food I sort of want.
Big perspective shift.
Yeah, it's just a completely different perspective shift, and it was sort of the first time I'd got completely out of my comfort zone, and I sort of got this real feeling of like a natural dopamine sort of euphoric feeling. And sort of after that, I was constantly chasing that. What's the next thing to do? How do I do this? I want to climb a mountain or whatever it was. And then in 2022, after Dad passed, I was sort of like, well, shit, you know, I am so out of my comfort zone now. I've never lived a day of my life without my dad. He was there for everything. He was my person I'd go to for advice about all things.
Yep.
And he was my best mate. And so after I sort of lost Dad, I was just in a bit of like just the worst feeling ever. That whole month of March, so much had happened that it literally feels like a blur, like it all happened in one day. From Dad having to fly home and then organising where people sit for funerals or the state memorial, even organising the state memorial, who's going to talk, what's it going to be like. Just what everybody, especially the family and Dad's team, were able to do in such a short amount of time. I don't know if it's ever been done before, to be able to organise something like the State Memorial. Everything was honestly life-changing. And for me, when I was so out of my comfort zone, like you said before, I was always quite shy and nervous. As soon as I got on stage at the State Memorial and I had to sort of talk about what was so emotional and private to me, which was my speech to Dad, as soon as I said everything I needed to say and was okay and walked off the stage and heard the clapping, I was like, wow. I've just had to speak about something that was so personal and sad in such a public setting, live, cameras, all these people watching, and I'm fine. So now after that, just getting more in front of the camera, especially with the Shane Warne Legacy and now doing my own podcast, I'm just finding it really natural to talk about. Whereas if you'd asked me 2-3 years ago or even 4 years ago, even when Dad was here, to do something like this, I'd be like, get absolutely stuffed, there's no chance. But now to be able to talk to people like yourself and remember Dad in this sort of way, yeah, just is really positive. So I'm glad you think I've sort of come out of my shell a little bit.
Oh, mate,
so
100%.
Thank you, DK.
Do you feel that's led to you almost seeking or kind of searching more of those tickets for growth now and kind of seeing other areas of your life where you can kind of challenge yourself, having been through such a challenging period, but seeing how you came out the other side of it and how much you grew? Is that something now in other areas of life as well, where you're looking like, where can I keep kind of progressing and growing? Well,
definitely, because even when Dad was telling me all the time, if you're going to do something, you may as well be the best at it and do it properly. So even with this podcast, like I've tried to make sure I've got the right cameras, got the right lighting. You know, I'm trying to do it as professional as possible because I know that's what Dad would want. And it even goes back to everything that I've done the last 3.5 years. If there's anything I sort of got stuck with or what should I do or where do I go, who do I ask, I'd always just think back, or what would Dad want me to do or who would Dad talk to? And that's sort of the route I'm going down.
Yep.
And it's helped me with a lot of overthinking because I don't have to overthink about anything. I just go, oh, well, what would Dad do? Oh, well, okay, do that.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of my way to know that I'm doing the right thing. But, yeah.
You mentioned before there hasn't necessarily been any crazy stories and whatnot that's really surprised you or that you didn't really know.
Yeah.
I remember, you and I talking relatively regularly, after Shane passed, and you mentioned something to me along the lines of like you obviously knew how much he meant to so many people around the world and how much he was doing, but it almost was just mind-blowing as to how much he actually was involved with and how much he'd actually done.
Yeah.
Can you give us a bit of insight into what that looked like? Because I think, people obviously, admire Shane and see how much he did for others and for his family and whatnot. But was there anything that surprised you there?
I think a lot of the people after the State Memorial, because for their whole lives and my whole lives, everybody saw Dad as the cricketer or the commentator or the Aussie larrikin. And after the State Memorial, it probably got to show a different side to Dad that not many people had seen, because you're seeing people like your Sam Newman or your Merv Hughes, all these people that worked or knew Dad personally, even family members, all share similar stories and say say the same things in common. He always wanted to make people laugh. He always was making sure you're okay, always asking, how can I help? He was always just wanting the best for everybody. And so I think that's what I'm just happy that the public's starting to see a little bit more of now, is how much charity work Dad actually does, how many people he did actually help, how caring he was, how loyal he was, how much he wanted to just help everybody. And it's almost like the public is sort of seeing the side of Dad that his closest friends and family, like myself, got to see our whole life. Yeah, and knew all along, because people always will have a assumption of someone before they even know them, and that's just human instinct. And one thing that Dad used to get all the time, and people would tell me and I would tell Dad, was, oh, your dad's so different to what I thought he'd be like. And when I'd tell Dad that, he'd be like, is that a backhanded compliment? How am I meant to take that? What do they think of me? But I think I'm just happy now that people are starting to see that side of Dad.
Oh, mate, 100%. 100%. With just coming back to the podcast again, just quickly, what elements of I guess yourself as a person now are you're almost just in disbelief of like the growth that you've had? I know I've kind of asked a similar question today already, but like in terms of your own personal growth, and I think what would also be beneficial too, if you're happy to jump in with this, is, there's people watching and listening at the moment that, regardless of what scale of challenge that they're going through at the moment, motivation comes and goes, right? And there's days where it's really fucking hard just to get up and going and to lean back into the purpose and the why. Like, again, you've done such an exceptional job of it. What are your anchors? Like, what do you really anchor into on those days where, things might feel challenging or motivation's dropped off? Like, what do you rely on to kind of keep yourself operating at the state you want to be in?
Thank you, DK. And I think it would go back to something I said before, which is quite similar, is my North Star, or my light, as you'd call it, is what would Dad want me to do?
Of course.
And so anytime I'm sort of getting stuck or I can't be bothered going to the gym or anything like that, I just think, well, would Dad want me to go to the gym? Yes. Okay, we'll go to the gym. Or would Dad want me doing this? No. Okay, well, don't do it. So I think for people, if they're going through something similar, I think just know the people around you always will have your best interests if they really care and if they really love you. So if you're ever wondering, what should I do? Or, if you're a little bit confused, because I hate being confused. If you're ever confused, just ask them, because they'll have your best interest. And sometimes the truth might hurt. Like if you are a little bit overweight, they might be really honest with you and say, well, look, you have put on a little bit of weight, and that might hurt your feelings at the start, but they're doing it because they love you.
Yeah, they're doing it because they care.
Yeah, and like even though when I was Fat Jack the last 2-3 years, when I was Fat Jack, like I knew when my family and stuff were saying, oh, Jacko, come on, that's not you lose a little bit of weight. And I'd be like, no, I don't care. I know they're not saying it to be mean.
Of course.
And maybe they're right. So I would just go off the advice of your close ones and your family and your friends, and maybe listen more.
We talked a little bit about the training and the food side of things. Are there any kind of daily habits or anchors that you've found quite effective for you outside of just training and nutrition? Yeah,
this will probably sound very repetitive because everybody's doing it at the moment, but just saunas and ice baths.
Yeah, great.
I try and have an ice bath 3 times a week. Usually in the morning, because it just gives me a bit more energy before I train. I like to train early, but saunas I do a lot. But one thing I've probably done the most this year, which I've never done before, or obviously everybody walks, but actually just be a lot more conscious of how much I'm walking. So just getting up a lot earlier, going for a walk, going outside, because I find it's so good for my clarity, like in my thinking. If I've ever got a pretty weird or tough decision to make, I'll just go for a walk and the answer will just come to me. Just being outside in nature, moving your body, like I think it's the first thing I always feel like it's the catalyst to doing something good, is just moving the body.
Yep.
And like if you're ever in a rut, just go for a walk. Just, move your body, do some sort of exercise, and you'll just find, it might sound weird, but usually at the end of every gym session, you've got a lot more energy, which sounds strange. You'd think you'd be more tired, but just do that. Just, if you're somebody that's low on energy, or, you're It's hard to get out of bed. Just, start with walking, slowly introduce training, and don't overwhelm yourself at the start. I think too many people make getting healthy or fit really difficult, or they think it's a really long journey. Sure, it's a marathon, not a sprint, but start with just one or two things. Don't start with doing your diet and your steps and your gym and you'll get too overwhelmed, burned out way too quickly. Start with like a little amount of walking, maybe one walk a day, even if it's only for 30 minutes or so, 3 times a week in the gym, and just slowly build and build and build. Because I find whenever I try and get into something really quickly and I try and do too much at once, too much change at once, I go overwhelmed and go, don't worry. But if you break it down and slowly introduce your new things, I think that might help. I hope that answered your question. I sort of went like this and then over there and then over there.
That was good. One of the things I talk about on the show quite often is from the moment you make the decision, really starting to lean into embodying that future version of yourself now, so that it's not this constant feel or battle of like, okay, well, shit, I want this outcome. How long is it going to take? What have I got to do? And because you start looking at things like your training and your nutrition almost as a bit of a chore that you need to tick off to get there. But the reality is, and obviously you're a great example of it, it's like it becomes part of who you are, and that's how it should be. And so from day one, it's not like, oh, there's no start and finish. It's like if I start showing up to my life now in the embodiment and following the traits and the habits of the version of me that's already in the best shape, or that's already a successful business owner or in a relationship or whatever, then you start to normalize it very quickly, and it doesn't really feel like it requires less motivation too. Yeah. Because ultimately when you get the outcome, you're going to have to live like that anyway. And so the sooner you can start to embody that, the quicker the results actually start working their way to you. And most importantly, it's easy to sustain because it's just become who you are.
Yeah, and I think that just comes down to consistency as well, because for me, when I first started going to the gym, I'd go for 3 weeks, then not go for 2-3 months, and I'd go twice, and then, really inconsistent. But now, like, I'll go 4 to 5 times a week, no matter what, and I sometimes find myself, if I don't train, I'm actually not myself. I'm a little bit more angry or a little bit impatient. So now I'm like, no. The first thing on my day, like what I've got for the day, is I'll always find around an hour just to lift weights or move my body. I just find for me, it helps me a lot more talking to people like yourself, doing podcasts, or just in a meeting. I've just got a lot more, like, no brain fog, I just feel.
Yeah.
And I think having a bit more of a cleaner diet has helped that a lot.
Without a doubt.
Just getting rid of the brain fog and having like a really whole food, clean diet. Because you know me, I was not big on food at all. And as soon as I actually started eating normal and healthy food, I was like, oh, I actually feel pretty good here.
This is why people do it.
Yeah, this is why people do it. And I always thought for the longest time, I was the biggest gym bro. Your body is 95% gym and 5% diet. And now I'm like, hang on, that is just so untrue, because when I was Fat Jack, I, for 3 years, was still training 3-4 times a week, but eating like absolute poo and look like shit. So I was like, hang on, let me still train, eat normal food. And I did that, and I lost 15, 16 kilos in about like just under 2 months. So
what do you reckon's the biggest?
The best I've ever felt.
What do you reckon's the biggest gym bro thing that you've done in your lifting career? I always look back at before I had a good amount of knowledge on training and nutrition, and think about some of the things I used to do with training and food, and just fucking laugh at myself. I'm like, that is outrageous. Yeah. Is there anything that stands out to you?
I think a big gym bro thing that I used to sort of think, which just isn't true now, is more reps equals more gains. Yeah. Like if you're just doing 12 reps for 4 sets, doesn't matter what exercise.
Like there's this magic rep range.
Yeah. I just, maybe for biceps it's different, or your side delt, maybe. But like for your most compound movements, or for probably 90% of your exercises, if you do just 2 working sets really hard in between 4 to 6 or 6 to 8 reps, like you should be pretty good. If you can do 3 sets of 10 or something and then still have 1 more set in the tank after that, you're probably not going heavy enough.
Yeah.
And you probably got a bit more engine left, or a bit more fuel left in the tank.
In the tank, yeah.
And yeah, I used to be the biggest gym bro and go in and try and do 5 sets of bench for 15, 16 reps, just stupid stuff. But now I've actually noticed the most growth in doing less is more.
Quality over quantity.
Quality over quantity. And also, another gym bro advice, have your rest days. I used to train like 6 to 7 days a week every day because I just loved the gym. And then I'll just be doing this, plateauing for ages.
Returns,
yeah. And now I've changed it from training on a Monday, Tuesday, rest on Wednesday, and then train again Thursday, Friday, rest on the weekends. Sure, every maybe 2 to 3 months I'll change up my program. At the moment I'm doing chest, back, shoulders, legs and arms, rest, and do that again.
Yep.
Different exercises for each session. Maybe in a month or so I'll change it again, but just making it fun and not just going there for an hour and a half and trying to do as many reps as possible. Time's also a thing too, probably. I used to be in there for 2.5, 3 hours just because I had nothing else to do and just wanted to keep doing reps and reps and reps. Now I'm able to smash out chest, back and shoulders in probably just like an hour. At the morning gym session was an hour and 3 minutes.
Nice.
And I managed to do 3 chest exercises, 3 back exercises and 3 shoulder exercises.
Nice.
And an hour and sort of 3 minutes. If that helped answer the question.
No, it did. 100% it did.
So have your rest days and quality over quantity for your reps and sets.
Great advice, brother. Great advice. Talk to us a bit about the foundation, man. And I mean, I think people would be interested to hear a bit more around like behind the scenes of what really goes into it, what the intent is moving forward with it, and I guess how you found that whole experience so far in terms of has it been rewarding?
Yeah.
Are you finding it challenging? Like, give us some insight into that, brother.
Yeah, so the Shane Warne legacy started around just over 2 years ago, late 2023, or nearly, actually, could be 2 years next week. And after Dad passed, we had so many people tell us that they've just gone and got their hearts checked, men, women, old, young. And when the doctors were asking the patients, why are you getting your heart checked or what's it for, they'd all say, well, Shane Warne's just passed away. And that happened to like thousands of people all around Australia. And so that's when the Australian media sort of came up with the Shane Warne halo effect. And when we were sort of hearing and reading all these stories, we knew there was something to that. We could sort of use Dad's heart and use that sort of way to encourage people to maybe look after their heart health. And so and I can't take credit for it, but when Dad's team got approached by, I want to say, Sisu Health to do some sort of heart machines, because we knew we wanted to do some sort of heart test or health check, something to do with your heart and something to bring awareness for it. That's what we knew would work. And so when we got approached for the idea to have these machines that Sisu provides, or these stations that can do just pretty much a basic health check, which can check for underlying health issues. It does your BMI and your average heart rate, your diabetes risk, your smoking risk, all that sort of stuff. Like, we knew that was gold. It was free, non-invasive. The check's done in under 5-6 minutes, and accessible to everybody. And around this date, we're at just nearly 400,000 total checks, which is
incredible.
It's unheard of for in sort of the health industry to have this amount of checks in such short amount of time, and to be able to spread the awareness for heart health and heart awareness is amazing. And I've had so many people say, if this wasn't like Dad's image, or if the family wasn't behind it, or if it wasn't called Shane Warne Legacy, they probably wouldn't do it, and they probably wouldn't actually know about it. Like, to me, if you told me what a health check or heart test involved, I would think, you take a bit of my blood, take my clothes off, and that's probably true to get your really nitty-gritty results and all that sort of stuff. But to get a basic health screening, you don't really need that.
Yep.
And so when we did our last 2 activations at Boxing Day and at Gather Round, the reception and feedback has been so positive that going to this year's Boxing Day against England as well will be huge. And to have people say Shane Warne saved my life, or to add to Dad's legacy, he's saving lives, is so special. Because I know it sounds cliche to save one life and you've done the right thing, but like, we've saved thousands, so we have proof that we've saved thousands. And I think it's just made people also live a healthy life.
Yeah, which is always going to be a great thing.
Yep.
Is there obviously you've been having that reflection with the podcast recently, and I do want to ask a couple more questions about that. But whether it's been, from one of, Shane's close friends, family, or someone completely random, is there a story or a memory that someone shared with you that stands out the most? That really showed his character?
Yeah, I can't think of one on the top of my head, but what a lot of them do have in common were somebody couldn't get in contact with Dad. They didn't know how. So through way of manifesting or something, Dad caught wind of whoever it is that needed help. that person was prepared to pay Dad for X amount of time to spend with him, Dad would be like, no, mate. He would go and surprise him, and what would have thought to be a handshake, hello, photo and autograph and maybe be there for 5 minutes would turn into a 3-4 hour full-on day with Shane. Let's go down to the Oval. I'll bowl you some overs to the nets. Give you, one of my cricket balls. I'll sign it. Give you some tips or masterclass photos. Invite your friends and family.
Above and beyond.
Just go completely above and beyond, and how much Dad cared and was engaged with anybody about everything, but especially about helping people, and especially with kids, is probably what makes me just the proudest all the time, because I get messages and photos. People will DM me on Instagram and say, hey, Jacko, look at this photo I got with your dad 20 years ago today. And it'll be a photo of them when they're 4 or 5 years old and they're like my age now. But just to see how happy and how vividly they still remember that memory is what makes me the happiest. It's just how much of an impact and how engaged Dad was with that person at that time. I think it's what makes me the happiest. And because he's always the same. In every single story, he's always the same.
Yeah.
Which is also really nice.
From a professional perspective, in terms of, where you really see yourself over the next 5 to 10 years and what you really want to be putting your time and energy into, what's that looking like? Is it continuing on with some of the foundation that your old man had kind of laid and continuing on in that area? You want to keep pushing with the pod? I know we've had a few conversations and I've mentioned to you that people want to hear more about you. People love listening to you and hearing your story.
Yeah.
Where do you feel like you want to take things?
Thank you, DK. Yeah, I think if I could sort of wave a magic wand and I could have everything I ever wanted in the next 5 years, I would love to grow the podcast to be one of the biggest and best in Australia. Obviously, it's very subjective what's the biggest and the best, but numbers will help, so I just need to get my numbers up. 2, would love to keep smashing the Shane Warne legacy and get as many numbers and checks as possible. Like, to reach that 1 million checks, I think would be really cool and special. Incredible. Probably maybe a few years away from that, but I think that would be a great milestone.
The summer, I would assuming, like coming into summer and the Ashes and whatnot, that'd create a huge spike, right?
Yeah, exactly. And 3, which I've told you about lots of times, is a gym or a wellness centre, because I love training. I love the gym. That was sort of my first passion since finishing school, was to be a sort of PT, and then I sort of didn't really want to be a PT anymore. I wanted to sort of do more businessy stuff, and I got close to actually opening one last year. I submitted an offer down in Brighton at a space, but it fell through. But to have, the podcast, the Shane Warne legacy, and my own gym called Warne's Wellness, that's what I'd love to call it.
Yeah.
So it can be a gym, wellness centre, whatever it is, just something like that is where I sort of see myself in the next 4 to 5 years. But yeah, fingers crossed. Any advice you've got for me, DK, I'd greatly appreciate
it'll
it.
happen, and I'm always here to offer advice for you, brother.
What about yours, DK? What's in the next 5 years?
Next 5 years?
Or next 3 to 5 years, do you have any plans or goals?
Got plenty. Yeah, got plenty. I mean, across the board, man. So obviously, as we said before, today's episode 600. I thoroughly just love the podcast. I mean, it's one of my favorite things to do, get to sit down with incredible people and connect with people that I probably wouldn't usually get to connect with. So I really want to keep growing the show as well, and just trying to impact as many people as possible through the tons of value and content in the show already. From a coaching perspective, I'm really loving the space that I'm in at the moment. Obviously still health and fitness, but a lot of personal growth and mindset, which is super, super rewarding. We obviously have our supplement company as well, so that's a big goal. But even just in life, man, I'm really excited to have kids with Danielle, which would be amazing. I'm very excited for that challenge. But I feel like the direction always remains the same. It's just, you just take bits and pieces here and there, and it changes quite often too, But yeah, just keep growing, man. As long as I'm keep growing, then that's all you can really focus on, right? Yeah,
completely agree, DK, and I'm sure you'll smash all of it. And good luck with kids and with Danielle and everything. Have you got any
Appreciate
names?
You, brother.
Have you got any names yet? Or way too soon?
Oh, we've got a few, but Danza struggles to decide what she's going to have for dinner, so I can imagine it's going to be very challenging to finalise a name. Mate, I wanted to quickly come back again just to, what are the things that you put your time and energy into today still that allow you to feel, closer with Shane? Like, obviously, I know you guys had such an incredible relationship and things like poker and all these things that you did together. Like, what today allows you to really kind of feel into that?
I definitely think Dad's
I hope you
biggest
don't mind me
hobby.
asking
No,
that
of course.
question too.
No, ask whatever you want. I think Dad's biggest hobbies after cricket were golf and poker. And I'm not a very good golfer, so I haven't really done anything in the golf world. But poker was probably our biggest thing that we shared together. We'd go all around the world playing together and having home games and going to people's houses. Like, that's what we loved to do. And I thought after Dad passed, and we all thought, everybody in the poker crew, because we'd usually play at Dad's house, we thought, oh shit, what's going to happen to it? Are we not going to play anymore? And I think there was maybe one home game in 2022, which I didn't go to. And then there might have been one, I think, in 23. But then once it'd been enough time and I was sort of ready to sort of sit down and play again, when I sort of messaged the group, hey guys, having a poker game, you all keen? It was like, yes. It was almost everybody, because yes, I was going through most of it, but so was everybody else. Everyone had also just lost like one of their best mates. So I think maybe if I'd got straight into it, maybe they also would have been not ready. So I think the timing and feeling of how long it was until we started having them again, and it has a really nice atmosphere now to the games because I have them at my house and we still use the same poker table, still use the same chips. Dad used to claim he has the best music in the world. He spent like literally 2 days with his technician making the most perfect playlist. So we still have his same playlist, still his same group of mates. So everything still feels the same.
Yeah.
He's just not here though. But no one's really sad now. Everyone's smiling. Everyone's happy. So I think playing poker is a really good chance and time for me to be able to remember Dad, and same with everybody else. But then I still see so many videos and photos on socials pop up all the time honouring and remembering Dad 20 years ago on this day, or do you remember this moment, or just stuff like that all the time. So
isn't that a beautiful thing? You know,
Yeah.
and if you think of, well, let's be honest, 99% of people across the world, you know, you're having to go through something similar, like they're not going to have that continuing to move forward, where it's like so many people have been affected in a positive way. You see so many things continue to come up and just really keep that memory and that feel there.
Yeah, and I think for the first maybe 12 months, 18 months, sure, every time we went out, it would be quite sad if people go, oh, you okay?
Yeah,
And
of course.
I could sort of see in the way people's eyes, they go, oh, they do like one of these ones, which is fine. But now it's like, hey, like it's like it's happy now. It's been nearly 4 years, and I think the feeling of Dad's passing, yes, it's still sad, but people want to remember all the positives. And I guess in a way, it makes me feel a lot less lonely what I'm going through because I'm sharing it with a lot of other people. But I also don't want to be like take all the attention away and like, oh, I've lost my dad, feel sorry for me, be sad. Like, I don't want any of that at all. And I would actually try to, I hope people see me, and when they also lose their mum or their dad or an uncle or a loved one, they see me and they go, if Jacko's okay, I can be okay. Because I know when I did the whole year of no drinking, and that helped a lot of people when I told them my reasons. And I also know people have said, look, you're going through something so shit and something so publicly and at such a young age, but you've come out the other end like, okay. I find that inspiring, and I'm 40 years old. I couldn't talk at my parents' funerals and I was 50. You know, all these certain things, I find a lot of strength in that, and I hope people can sort of see me and be like, if Jacko's okay, well, then I can be okay too. I hope that's come out right.
Well, mate, 100%. I have absolutely zero doubt that you have and will continue to inspire and motivate and help so many people just through your actions, which is the coolest part about it. And I think, you know, I obviously have now quite good friends with Brooke now as well, and obviously have met Summer a bunch of times. The thing that I know I keep saying this shit, I'm not just saying it because you're here, but the thing that impresses me so fucking much about all three of you is just how good of a human you all are, and the values that you've got, your ability to be present and make people feel special every single time you're talking to them, the respect, the politeness, everything. He's done an incredible job, and so have all of you guys. And again, man, I think you should be like so fucking proud of yourself for the growth and really just stepping up, and because you know it's so much easier to go the opposite way, right? And no one would have blamed you for doing it. But I think you come out the other side of it, mate, an even better person, which is inspiring.
Yeah, thank you, DK. That's one thing I Well, I think that comes back to how mum and dad raised us. We were always, they always just taught us right from wrong, be respectful, manners are free, all these things. And so I think we're a product of them. Like, I don't want to just take a lot of credit for dad. It was also mum too.
Of course.
And yeah, one thing with me, Brooke and Summer is we all are sort of on the same team. We all want to help each other. No one's jealous of one another. If something's going wrong, and even though we fight like a lot, like every brother and sister.
Of course.
Like, we fight a lot. But if as soon as something happened to Summer or Brooke, then like a negative way, we're all the first person to, okay, how can we help? And
literally the other day, Brooke was, when we were training the other day, she was talking about how proud she is of you for the podcast.
Is she?
Yeah.
Thank you, DK. But yeah, going back to I could have gone down the other way is you're exactly right. And I heard so many people tell me when they lost their loved ones, they went to drugs and alcohol. They woke up one day and it had been 5 years. And I just sort of were hearing all these stories and I thought, well, that's actually like my worst nightmare. I don't want to wake up one day and, I'd be 30 years old. So the reason for doing... But the reason I did the no drinking was because I thought, well, if I can go through something so publicly and shit and negative, if I can do the whole year and do no drinking and like that can help people and tackle everything completely sober, because I feel like when you're using alcohol, it's like a Band-Aid or like a mask. It doesn't actually help with the real problem. So when I was doing that, and I did the whole year pretty easily. If you told me I can't have Macca's for a year, well, that might be a completely different story. But when I did the whole year of no drinking, I think I helped a lot of people by doing that, because they said, well, I can't even do a month, or I've never done, more than a week. And you just done a year, where usually everyone would expect you, or you'd be, it's okay if you do have a drink, that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Mate, it's something that sounds very exciting, and I know you're excited by it, and I think there will be many, many people who join you in that excitement. The museum of your dad's memorabilia at the G.
Yes.
Talk to us about that. Sounds absolutely incredible. And as I said, there's going to be a lot of happy people. Yeah.
So how this sort of started was we always used to ask Dad, actually going back even further, over 3.5 years ago after Dad passed, all of our thoughts, families, Dad's team, executives of the estate, were all like, Dad's memorabilia, what are we going to do with it? And all of our first instincts and thoughts before we even had that meeting were, well, we need to share it with Australia. It's exactly what Dad would have wanted to do. He would have given it to everybody to have a look at. He wanted to share it with everyone. And we know that's what he would have wanted to do. And for our whole life, me, Brooke and Summer always used to say, Dad, like, why don't you have your memorabilia on display? And he'd always used to say, they know what I did. They know what I did. And like, it's very humble of him. But me, Brooke and Summer were like, yeah, but like, you've got the 700th wicket there. You've got the, the dancing stump. Oh, you've got literally everything. This is so cool. You need to share it. So occasionally at like poker nights, or if he was selling his house or doing like a house tour or something, you'd have it on display and it looked amazing. But if we fast forward now 3.5 years later, if you were to tell me that there's going to be like a personal Shane Warne museum or a Shane Warne exhibition at the MCG, I would say that sounds way too good to be true. But to fast forward, now 3.5 years later, and to have where at the MCG, the Shane Warne statue, the Shane Warne stand, the hat trick, 700th wicket, coming down the crowd. Like, he has so many iconic memories at the MCG, and this is where he's from. So in a way, it's like a fairy tale to have his exhibition at the MCG. And I had so many people as well after Dad passed, they would message me, and I still see people today, and they go, I didn't know how to honour your dad, but I absolutely loved him. I had no idea what I should do after he passed, so I went to your dad's statue. I put some VBs or some Vegemites down or a pack of smokes. I got the tour of the MCG, got a photo with the Shane Warne stand, and then saw his hologram in the museum at the bottom. And that's just, I wanted to tell you that, Jackson. I hope that's okay. I go, mate, thank you for telling me that. I want to hear more.
How special.
But just to know, people subconsciously, when they want to remember and honour Dad, they think of the MCG. So, yeah, it's just another sort of fairy tale story in Dad's life. He's only had one hole-in-one ever. Do you want to know where it was?
Yeah.
Where was it? You have to guess.
I thought you better tell me.
No, I'll tell you. You have to guess. If you think of the best golf courses in the world ever, he had a hole-in-one, and he's only ever had one. This will test your golf knowledge.
Which is very minimal.
Is
So
it
I
minimal?
have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the golf course Augusta?
Yes, I have heard of that.
Okay,
Yes.
so you've heard of Augusta. That's where he's only ever had one
Wow.
hole in one, and it was at Augusta. So you think of all of these fairy tale stories that's happened in Dad's life. This is just another one of them. Like, he has
It's
so
incredible.
many, but it'll be at the MCG forever. So I
Amazing,
think,
man.
I think it'll be so special when we can finally start sharing it and showing it with everybody. I had a little bit of a tour of it a few days ago when I went there, and it's going to be really special.
Is there a dream guest that you want to get on the pod?
For me, yes. In the Australian scene, I've got two.
Just give us an Australian one and an international. Oh, you can give us two Australian.
I'll give you. Okay, I'll give
You
you
can
two.
give me as many as you want, actually.
Well, okay. So I've got two dream guests in Australia. First one, Robert Irwin. I'd love to have
Yes.
Robert Irwin just because we have. I don't want to say we have similar, but we would have a lot of things in common. Both of our dads passed away. He was a lot younger than I was, but both sort of every time I get reminded your dad was an Aussie icon, Steve Irwin's always next to him. It's always sort of those two representing Australia to the world. Dad sort of never broke out into America, but Steve did. So Dad had all of the countries like India, Australia, England, West Indies, Africa, all those countries. Steve Irwin had all of them as well, plus America. So they represented Australia really well and in a really Aussie way. So I think what Rob's doing now to be able to honour and remember his dad and carry his legacy, I think is amazing. So
Yeah.
I'd love to have Robert. And my second guest I'd love to have would be Dustin Martin, just because a bit like with Rob or with Dusty, I'd have a lot in common. Both of our dads passed away. Both was quite public. He was also very close with his dad. And to sort of, I guess, try and relate to him on what it was like when you lost your dad, what was some things that got you through and how you're feeling now, because losing your dad, especially if you're best mates with them and you're really close to them, it sucks. It's the shittest thing ever.
Of course.
And still doesn't feel real. But to see how he was like still okay and still go out and perform and play footy, and I think we'll just have a really good, engaging conversation. And he's also never done a podcast before, and he doesn't really do interviews. And a bit like me, up until the legacy started and I started my own podcast, I wouldn't really do much on camera unless I absolutely have to. So, I think having someone like Dustin would be really cool, and that's sort of what I'm manifesting. I'd love to have one day have him on, but whenever the timing's right, not going to force it. That's one thing I've loved with the podcast so far is I haven't had to force anybody to come on. Most of the people I've asked have said yes. I have said yes. So, hopefully when he feels comfortable one day to do an interview or a podcast, hopefully he says, I'll do Jacko's. Maybe, hopefully.
He will. It'll happen, brother. It'll happen.
Thank you, DK. What about you? Do you have a dream guest?
I've got a few. I mean, it'd be crazy not to say MJ. Jordan would be absolutely fucking incredible. But there's a handful that I do have that I've wanted to have on for a long time. Russ, the rapper Russ, who like his story and his career is just like so fucking inspiring for me. And I actually used a lot of motivation from his story for this podcast, to be honest, around just consistently showing up each week and releasing an episode no matter how many people are listening, and just continuing to just be consistent over the longest period of time possible, and how over time that will compound and you start to see that growth. So I took a lot of inspiration from Russ. I don't know, man, there's so many. But the coolest thing, and I'm sure you probably already have experienced this and you will at some point if you haven't, is that you can speak with anyone on the podcast, and there's the potential for that to be like one of the most life-changing conversations you've had. And I truly believe everyone has a story, and everyone has value too, regardless of whether you're a public personality or not. Some of the coolest interviews I've had on the show are people that aren't public at all. So that excites me. I think the main thing that excites me, regardless of who the guest is just getting to continue to be exposed to other people's life experiences and what their value and what they put out into the world. I think it's exciting, man. And it's very rare you ever sit down for an hour with no phone, literally zero distractions, and just have a genuine conversation with someone.
Yeah, I think it's one of the coolest things ever, because it's not fake. It's very real. You find out a lot about somebody once you've been talking to them for a while without the big fancy lights. It's just a one-on-one conversation. And I just think it's a really unique way to bring out sometimes some people's stories that they usually wouldn't share. And yeah, I think you're doing a great job, DK. Well done.
I appreciate you, brother. And likewise. Mate, I want to be mindful of your time. What's the main kind of intention or desire for you at the moment in terms of what you want to put out into the world, and like what's the mark that you really want to leave
on the world?
Yep.
Oh well, I hope I don't pass away soon. So hopefully I've still got something to think. Hopefully I've still got something to think of in what my mark would be. But I think if you'd ask me right now what my mark would be, it'd probably be that as soon as anybody sees me, they instantly think of Dad, and that means if they're thinking of Dad, that means I'm carrying on his legacy. So that in any way, shape or form, they see me on the street or on socials, at the cricket, whatever it is, even if it's for just half a second you think of Dad, that means I've done a good job at carrying on his legacy. So that's probably it at the moment. Might change in the future. I would love to be known as having one of the best gyms in Melbourne, but I haven't got a gym yet.
That will happen.
So I haven't got a gym yet, so we'll see. But thank you, DK.
My pleasure. Jacko, mate, I've absolutely loved our chat. I love any time we get to spend time together, and I've obviously pumped you up a lot in the episode today for very good reason. But very grateful that you come in today, particularly for this 600th episode, which is super cool. And yeah, man, I appreciate your time. And once again, you should be so proud of yourself. I'm very, very proud to be able to call you a friend of mine. And I love the fact that we get to hang out more now as well, and let's keep pumping on, and you can maybe slow down a little bit with your gains so that I can fucking catch up a little bit, if that's all right.
No, all good. You've still got me on back, legs, everything else. So DK, thank you again. I definitely don't feel worthy to be your 600th episode. So if you decide to make me 599 and someone else can be 600, that's totally fine.
Not a bloody chance, man.
Thank you, DK. Thanks for having me. It's been a lot of fun. And it's also nice coming on as a guest. I don't have to do as much thinking as usually a host. So thank you for giving me the chance to just decompress as well.
My pleasure, man. And to everyone who is watching or listening at the moment, once again, just wanted to say a big, big thank you to everyone who tunes in to the show. Whether this is your first episode or whether you've listened to all of them, I'm extremely grateful, and I hope you've enjoyed the content up until this point. But we're just getting started, just warming up. So the best is yet to come. Thanks again, Jacko. Appreciate
all good.
it.
Thanks, DK.